Welcome to the program agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and today is the 29th day of July 2022. It's a Friday. Mabuti na po yung naninigurado sa petsa dahil baka mamaya nyo kamo magkamali tayong mapagalitan pa. Welcome to the program and thank you for being subscribers of Cignal TV, viewers of One News PH, especially those of you who catch Agenda on channels 8 and 250, and those of you who also follow us via facebook.com/OneNewsPH, as well as on YouTube. Happy weekend to all of you, and we continue to pray for our friends, our relatives, our brothers and sisters kababayan in Northern Luzon, particularly those in Abra and the Cordillera areas. We hope that somehow things will quickly recover, and for those na namatayan, nakikiramay po tayo, at we hope that somehow you will be able to find comfort in this very difficult time. Today, we will be talking about what comes after the earthquake, because while many of us are looking at all those photos of heritage sites that are damaged, homes that were collapsed or ruined, etc., many people have been talking about how do we build back better. In fact, I wrote in my column in the Philippine Star that in relation to these earthquakes and typhoons, etc., perhaps we should build schoolhouses that are built like bunkers. Okay, wag niyo po akong tawanan kasi ako po ay nakapagtayo na. I built a building or a bed and breakfast facility in Palawan, and I built it on top of a hill, and I copied the style of Batanes homes. And I discovered, kanya pala ang titibay nun, talagang half a meter ng bato yung mga pader, etc. And when that facility was hit by 2 typhoons, it withstood the attack of the typhoon. So instead of just building better, we should build bunkers. And in connection with that, that will be our first topic for today. We are going to speak with an expert on how do engineers, how do builders rebuild or strengthen or shore up buildings, especially yung mga heritage towers, heritage sites, I mean, or like the belfry in Ilocos. Paano yun pinapatibay, inaayos at pinapalakas? Okay, we will be speaking with them regarding that. And after our talk on reconstruction, structural engineering, etc., rebuilding stronger, not just better, we will be interviewing the spokesperson, the new spokesperson or new OIC spokesperson of the Department of Health regarding COVID, and not just COVID, but also what happened, anyari, because apparently there is 5.1 billion pesos worth of vaccines that were expired, went to waste, etc., because of the whatever. We will find out from the Department of Health anyari and what can be done. Okay, but in the meantime, let's go to our daily starter. And I do hope that all of you are listening or reading our daily starter, because it's a good way to reflect on life. And our daily starter, most of this I picked up on social media. So hindi po ako nagsasabing original material to. Credits to the owner na lang. When you've done something wrong, admit it and be sorry. No one in history has ever choked to death from swallowing his pride. Ayan po. In fact, someone said her parents always told her, if you've done something wrong, be the first to admit it. Parang ganun, hindi ka na mauunahan, hindi ka na mabubulaga, mapapahiya. Okay, so when you've done something wrong, admit it and be sorry. No one is choked to death from swallowing his or her pride. Okay, let's now go to the front page of the Philippine Star, July 29, 2022, Friday. And the headline is still earthquake-related, 887 aftershocks, quakes recorded. Abra under state of calamity. Okay, yun po, no? Ang headline and supporting that headline is a compilation of photographs or images in the center section of landslides and of vehicles being damaged, of President Bongbong Marcos visiting Abra, and sadly the 1938 monument of I think that is of General Antonio Luna, built in 1938 in Tayum Town Plaza, fell. Kumbaga hindi kinaya, bumagsak, matanda na. And medyo ayun po, no, mapapansin ninyo, parang kulang sa bakal. As usual, kulang sa bakal. Yun po kasi, yung mga style noon, ilang piraso lang ang bakal. Anyway, let's move on. The next 36, the next page, that is the Philippine Star heralding its anniversary and looking forward to the future. At the top of the front page, OICs, contractuals keep government posts until year end. That is good news for many contractual employees of the government, because some of them or many of them were afraid na baka the end na sila by today or next week. Pero it has been announced by Executive Secretary Vic Rodriguez that officers in charge, contractuals, will keep government posts until the end of the year. And if you are an officer in charge and someone is appointed or designated permanently, then you revert to your original post or you get transferred or whatever. Okay. Now, Marcos inspects quake-hit areas. Ayun po, kitang-kita naman ang ebidensya. Unlike the campaign when the president was a bit scared or sabi nila, mailap for handshakes and body contacts, here you have a photo of BBM extending his hand to the affected people. Okay. Di naman nyo po masisisi yung mama, ano? Kasi 2-0 na siya sa COVID. Okay. Legal execs meet with Marcos on ICC probe. Okay. The former Secretary of Justice, now Solicitor General Menardo Guevara, Presidential Legal Counsel Juan Ponce Enrile, Justice Secretary Crispin Boying Remulla, Foreign Affairs Secretary Enrique Manalo, and Executive Secretary Vic Rodriguez met with the President to discuss ano ba ang magiging posisyon ng Pilipinas regarding the ongoing investigation of the International Criminal Court in The Hague regarding the drug war of President Rodrigo Duterte. Okay. And further down in the paper, you have a photo of the founder of, not founder, but CEO of Angkas, transport advocate George Royeca, na in a picture with former Malaysian Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad during a conference for global issues. Okay, former DTI Chief Ramon Lopez cites benefits of vape law. Nako po, ewan ko, ha? Kumbaga, ngayon na lang natin nalaman that they had supported the vape law. Anyway, BBM wants disaster office, not a new department. And that is in line with the fact that the new administration is actually gunning for right-sizing. Tama nga naman. Ba't ka magtatayo ng bagong departamento kasi gusto lang ng isang senador? Meron naman tayong NDRRMC, okay? And the Office of the President and the DSWD. Okay. Meanwhile, that photo in the bottom is a photo of Asia Brewery Incorporated President and COO Michael Tan and Shell Energy Philippines Incorporated President and CEO Bernd Krukenberg, okay, signing a contract for 15 megawatts of renewable energy for Asia Brewery Inc. plants in Luzon. Ayan, kumbaga, ayan na talagang usong-uso na. It has now become a standard direction for big manufacturers and companies to put up a mix of solar, geothermal, and hydro-generated power. And there you go. Let me catch my breath. Okay. There you go. And okay, as I mentioned earlier to our first guest today, we will be discussing structural engineering, reconstruction, rebuilding better and stronger. Okay. And just to give you a rundown before I introduce our guest, okay, tourist destinations and heritage sites damaged by magnitude 7 earthquake in Abra, the Santa Catalina de Alejandria Church, a 19th century Baroque church and considered a national cultural center, was damaged. San Lorenzo Ruiz Shrine, early 1920s, was damaged. In Ilocos Sur, the heritage city of Vigan was affected. Many damaged buildings. Vigan Cathedral, the Siquia House, an ancestral home turned museum in Vigan, collapsed sidewalls and broken windows. Ancestral houses along Calle Crisologo, Vigan Heritage Village. The Bantay Bell Tower, ito po yung nakita ninyo sa Facebook na kumakalog, umuusok na gano'n dahil sa alikabok, almost collapsed. St. John the Baptist Church in San Juan, Ilocos Sur, recorded damage to its facade, yung harapan po, and ceiling, and many other places. So now, let's introduce our first guest for today to teach us about structural engineering and reconstruction and shoring. Okay, let's get to know him through this video.
Ronaldo Ison is a civil and structural engineer with over 20 years of local and foreign experience. His engineering design firm R.S. Ison and Associates has been providing services to clienteles in the US, Dubai, and Qatar since 1999. Ison also served as the president of the Association of Structural Engineers of the Philippines from 2002 to 2004 and 2019 to 2020.
Okay, good morning, Engineer Ison. Welcome to the program agenda.
Yes, good morning, Cito. Yeah.
Okay, how do I address you? Is it Ron, Ronaldo, Aldo?
So you can call me Rani na lang. Yeah.
Oh, Rani, okay. Engineer Rani, first up, we already have started to list down the structures, historical sites, buildings that were affected. And, you know, before the earthquake, I had the chance to visit Vigan, and I actually saw one or two heritage homes that were already fenced off. And when I asked my host, I said, "What's going on?" And they said, "Cito, it's not even safe to walk in it, especially on the floors kasi feeling nila magko-collapse na yan." So there were a number of really old homes that were not being used because of safety issues. Now, so what is the process in a situation like this? We've removed the residents. We have taken care of those who are hurt, etc. How do engineers and government officials go about their work regarding this?
Well, normally, immediately after an earthquake, we normally have to assess first the safety of the structure. So before entering any structure that is supposed to be damaged by an earthquake, we should be assessing first before we fully enter the structure. We have to assess first the perimeter of the building. So we go around checking some signs of possible failures in the structure. So that can be something like tilting of the building or some major cracking of the wall or some settlement of foundation. So if we don't find any of these conditions, we enter now the structure. So from that perspective, we are now going to do what we call structural investigation or structural assessment. So that would entail us to do checking of the different parts of the house. So what are the different parts of the house or the building? So you have the major structural components. You have the columns, the beams, the floors, and the walls. So when we go in, we have to check all these different structural elements and what's the state of that of those elements after an earthquake, if it is damaged or not. So that would be the first step. And then subsequently, we will be doing some more detailed structural analysis. That would be the same for most existing structures, not only houses, but also the same process with buildings.
Okay, Ronnie, can we just do this piece by piece? Because during earthquakes or times like this, there are people who are panicky. There are also some people who take advantage. Ika nga, no? Now, nagkaroon ng earthquake. There's an earthquake, and then you start seeing you see cracks that weren't there. There's a crack on the wall, or there is a separation of a certain portion, etc. Kasi I've been in construction, and may mga tao dyan na, naku, para ba yung doktor na, yung ilang doktor na, hindi mo pa nga ako na x-ray, hindi mo pa ako napapalpate, naku ka na dyan. So, you are with, I never even knew there is an association of structural engineers in the Philippines. Ganun ba kayo kadami that you have an association already?
Yes, actually, yung ASEP has been around for more than 50 years. It's actually on its 60th. It passed its 60th anniversary. So, di ba, in the Philippines we have about 150,000 civil engineers. So, and then those who specializes in structural engineering are structural engineers. So we formed this association. We are about 1,500.
Okay.
Out of the 150,000 civil engineers. So,
okay, out of 1,500 structural engineers, are there guys or women who specialize in this kind of problems, post-earthquake, post-disaster assessment of structures?
Yes. Most of that 1,500 structural engineers will be able to assist anyone in post-earthquake assessment and post-earthquake or post-disaster retrofitting works. Tama ka. Actually, you said it right, no? Di ba, many people would be asking, pag nagkaroon ng any earthquake or not even an earthquake, meron ka makikita mga cracks sa pader and biglang nagpapanik without diagnosis. Diba? Parang mga doctors na the houses are like people, di ba, na kailangan nating diagnose by a professional.
Mhm. Okay, now having said that, how do you go about with the diagnosis? Because may I've seen some video and nangahirap sometimes when we compare ourselves to other countries, they have portable X-rays, they have parang ewan ko ba yun, parang they have sensors determining on the integrity of a beam, of a post, etc. In the Philippines, do we have high tech or equipment that does this?
Yes, actually, we have those already for a long time. The Philippines is not laid back or poor in terms of structural engineering. Actually, we are very much within the scopes of the other countries. No? So yung mga equipments na yan, we already have that. Yung mga, we have equipments that can check kung ano yung integrity ng concrete. And then we have equipments who can do scanning of the concrete and then finding out ano yung, what are the rebars inside it. So we have all those different equipments that make us capable of inspecting even these existing structures.
Okay, now we now have a situation. People now have to figure out, is it still safe to stay in a building or conduct business in a building? Nabanggit mo na that you will go first. You go around the building to look for the obvious. Some of the videos that we've been showing, sobrang obvious na, di ba? Yung iba tumagilid na talaga. If only the top portion, and pasensya ka na, I'm thinking local, ano. If only the top portion ang tumabingi, pwede ba yun? Ay, okay lang yan, putulin mo na lang yung ibabaw, pagkatapos lagyan mo ng bubong.
Actually, yeah, definitely, you have to still investigate what happened to the structure. But even if only the top portion is damaged, we have to investigate if yung lower portion can still be used. It's not outright na tanggalin mo lang yung ibabaw and then do check or even use the lower portion. We have to check it very well so that we are assured na yung foundation and columns and beams are still intact. No? Otherwise, you have to really demolish the whole thing.
Okay, now we'll go for a quick break, Ronnie. 1 minute lang, and when we come back, can you bring us through step by step how to do the assessment properly, and then how do you guys go about shoring up ba yun? May mga tinatawag sila na kumbaga internal strengthening daw. We'll go for a quick break. We'll be right back here on Agenda. Okay, welcome back to the program agenda. We continue our discussion on the reconstruction, renovation, or shoring up of heritage sites and affected buildings with engineer Ronald Ison. He's a member of the Association of Structural Engineers of the Philippines. They are 1,500 strong engineers in the Philippines helping with this kind of concerns. Now, Ronnie, we were talking about going through the process. Could you please lead us?
Okay. Sige. So that is what we call the structural investigation of this existing building. So I will give you a step-by-step process on how to go about it. No, the first and foremost, no, it is important that the engineer, when he's investigating the building, he has to know the plan of the building. So normally we should have in hand or at hand the plans of the building. It is structural plans.
Mhm.
So in most cases, when we have very old buildings, we don't have that anymore. And then sometimes, even if we have very new buildings, sometimes the owners would be losing those drawings that represents yung structural parts of the building or the structure. So when we go inside, as I've said, when we go inside the building and then checking it, we have to first identify the physical characteristics of the building. So titingnan natin, we will investigate what are the manifestations of damage on the structure. So we call that damage mapping. No? So we will be assessing the different damages in the structure, and then identify it and then put it in a plan. So that's the first step. Now, the second step would be to identify, since a plan would represent kung ano yung what material is used, what type of concrete, what strength of concrete, what type of rebar, what strength of rebar. So all this comes into combination for us to be able how strong or how weak the structure is. No? So another thing that we need to know pag nag-investigate is we have to know how the building is formed, how the columns and beams are connected. So we call that structural framing. No? So if you look at your houses, you will see different locations of columns, tapos you have different locations of beams, and then you have the floor. No? So this forms part the structural system of the whole structure. So for us to be able to evaluate yung structure, we have to identify ano muna yung dimensions, no? How big the columns are, how big the beams are, how far the columns are among each and every column. So that's, you have to know the span. So if you notice that in your houses, diba, the columns are located far apart. And those are connected by beams. No? And then those are connected. And then if you have a second or third floor, then you have the floors connecting all those things. No? So we have to know kung ano, that is basically the configuration of the building. So we have to know the configuration of the building, which includes the dimensions of the columns, beams, and then the floors. And then we have to know the materials that is used in the construction of the building. So we have to know the strength of the concrete. We have to know the strength of the rebars. So ngayon, if we don't have this information should be in the drawings, we should now do our own structural investigation. That investigation would require to do some material testing and what we call as-builting to do the measurements. So that's where your observations come in, diba? We have these equipments that can check we do some coring, we core the columns, we core the beams. So you have this drill, and then we take a sample of those concrete elements.
Parang core samples.
Correct, that's core. Tama yun. That's exactly the term, yung core samples. The core samples will determine ano yung compressive strength ng concrete. So that will give us that idea. And then we take samples of the reinforcing bars. So the reinforcing bars, we do some tension test. So we will be able to know the strength of the reinforcing bars if it's a normal structure or conventional structure. So
Okay.
ngayon, after getting that, we have to count how many reinforcements are there in the beams and in the columns. Diba, these are all hidden inside the concrete element. No? So what we do is we do X-rays like what you have discussed. No, we do X-rays of the beams and slabs. No, so after getting all those things, we analyze it and then find out if the structure is still okay or if there's a need to retrofit the structure.
Okay, I was just observing some of the videos while you were talking, Rani, and I noticed that in some cases, the only part that actually gave was the plastering, yung palitada, yung harapan lang nung building. But in one particular case, only the upper portion of the building tilted. Now, you were talking about dimensions. You have to get the area of the building. Is it possible that that building tilted or bali parang nabalian siya sa gitna bent in the middle? Is it because the building was too high, top heavy, or are all of this simply because there were not enough columns or poste?
Oh, that's correct. No? Basically, the reason why that portion of the building upper floor tilted, it's probably because under-designed yung upper portion. Meaning, when nagkaroon ng earthquake, you have the lower ground, which is yung lower floor, which is stronger or which has probably more reinforcements. So yung effect ng earthquake or the forces na induced ng earthquake was not able to damage yung lower part, and then yung upper part was damaged because probably it's under designed, or tama, you probably have less reinforcements than the lower part.
Okay, what about with the Bandai Bell Tower? I think that is on everyone's mind because it is a tourist destination, a historical site. If you look at the video, parang hello, they will probably have to para kayong orthopedic surgeon maglalagay ng bakal sa buto. How can that still be saved based on what you have seen?
Yes, I think so because diba, not all of the tower was damaged. So there are definitely, you have to investigate this bell tower, and there are many retrofitting schemes that can be done. Like what you said, we can provide internal bracing to support the structure and then reconstruct the church tower, diba? Kasi you have to also preserve that the integrity of the historical building or heritage structure. So there will be some schemes, a lot of schemes that can be used para to reconstruct this tower.
When you guys do reconstruction or when you recommend structural strengthening or overhaul, what is the approach? Do you break it first? Kumbaga sa orthopedics, hindi ba, sometimes when a bone does not heal correctly, they break it again and correctly align it, or they put metals, etc. Itong sa Bandai Bell Tower, klaseng marami nang wala sa alignment. Do you actually break it in large portions and then strengthen it and then rebuild it?
Well, normally, when we retrofit damaged structures, we first look at those elements that are still intact. So we have to check first yung mga intact elements, and then definitely it would be difficult to remove everything and then bring it back. So when we retrofit, we try to maintain yung structure as much as possible and work around it such that we are able to reinforce yung structure without damaging the old structure. Lalo na for heritage structures, it's very important that we maintain the aesthetic value and the structure of that structure. So karamihan, naglalagay tayo ng braces within the structure, o kaya there are also cases that we need to remove some portions of the structure and then build it up to a larger dimension para in the future earthquakes they will already be able to resist it. So there are many things. No? So you can put braces and then you can build it up. There are many new technologies to retrofit existing structures now that we can use for these structures.
Okay, but how long and how expensive would this undertaking be? Because I know that there's going to be a lot of emotions involved, a lot of memories involved with the Bandai Bell Tower. How long? I mean, of course, it's not fair. You're not there. You're not on site. But just, your video assessment. Ito ba, parang Sacré-Cœur or yung sa France, yung nasunog, di ba? Parang sabi nila, it's going to take years to rebuild it, etc.
Well, offhand, no, I would say that it will be quite long, no? Because the investigation itself is quite, it would take some time, no? Maybe about half a year to investigate how to properly look into you have to properly assess first yung structure, and then you have to find different ways to go about retrofitting it na hindi masisira yung kanyang original state ng pagka-heritage structures. Of course, you have to deal with other agencies, no, in charge of this historical structure. So there will be a lot of coordination, and then after all after all these things are settled, then you have to design the actual retrofit, and then you have to do the actual construction. So often I probably think that it will be more than a year to reconstruct this structure.
Well, I mean, 6 months to study it, probably more than a year or 2 years to rebuild this. But Rani, my other question is, when there's an earthquake, particularly when you're reaching 6 and 7 magnitude, does it does it follow that if the earth has been shook up, as sabi nga nila, that foundations have changed or have been disrupted? Because when I was watching the video of the bell tower, of the Bandai Bell Tower, talagang umusok yung loob nun. Now, maybe it was just dust and debris falling. But I was kind of wondering, do earthquakes also displace or disturb the foundation of structures so much so that it is a cause for concern?
Yes, it is possible. Now, if the foundation is not, because there are a lot of things that you need to consider as a foundation. You have to consider the weight of the structure. You have to consider the size of the foundation, and then you have to you have to consider the soil that it is being founded on. You would see that in the few very in the past, no, there are no soil investigations that are being performed. So some builders would not know what old builders or ancient builders would not know what type of foundation would be below the structure. So it is possible that yung earthquake can damage the foundation itself during movement, because the soil may, if you notice in the 1990 earthquake, there is liquefaction. So nagliquefy yung soil. So yung building tilted, so meron kang damage sa foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Then in Bohol earthquake, you have yung mga cavities, no? So when you don't have a proper soil investigation, that would also affect your foundation. So definitely, kapag merong earthquake, there will be cases na yung foundation will also be damaged.
Okay, now judging from what we've seen so far, much of the damage has been on very old or heritage structures, and some of the new ones that collapsed or were broken or damaged medyo sabi nga natin, there were questions on the quality of design and building standards. Now, for Metro Manila or for the urban areas, what is the assessment of professionals like you? Have we managed to correct these flaws, these weaknesses, so much so that if we actually got a 7 here in Metro Manila or in the NCR, that damage won't be as widespread and as painful?
Yeah, actually, if we have this National Structural Code of the Philippines, no, it's the referral code of our building code. And if you follow the National Structural Code of the Philippines, we are designing for a magnitude 7 to 8.3 earthquake. So supposedly, if the structures are designed and constructed in accordance to this code, then our building should be okay when we experience this large earthquake, particularly sa West Valley Fault. So ngayon, back in 2004, there was this Metro Manila Earthquake Impact Reduction Study, which was conducted by FIVOX and JICA. And then that's a study of Metro Manila. No? Basically, what will happen if an earthquake was triggered in the West Valley Fault and then in the Philippine Fault. And based on that study, most of the engineered structures, meaning it went through the process of a design of a professional, a structural engineer. Most of those structures will not be failing. But based also on the study, most of the non-engineered structures, ito yung mga karamihan coming from the informal sectors group. You notice that houses are sprouting out in the metropolis na don't even, you were right, no? You can see the reinforcements na kulang yung bakal, and then the construction method is not very good. It would not be following the required construction standard. So these types of structures, yung mga would be more vulnerable. So these non-engineered structures, not necessarily wooden houses. These are your conventional CHP houses, which would probably be very vulnerable.
Yung mga patong-patong development, nila, where they are in the informal settlers area, mga squatters, ganon, nagtatayo sila, inuna, they begin with one floor, and then they put a second floor and the third floor, and not realizing na, teka, yung poste mo, patong-patong, hindi, that's not gonna work.
Yes, kasi most people yung mga think na kapag nagpatong sila and still standing up, okay lang yon. Pero they're not really concerned about what's going to happen kapag may earthquake, kasi yung earthquake phenomenon is different, diba? You would notice that a number of structures are standing up kasi they're only experiencing yung weight ng structure. But when you have earthquake, you have those lateral ground movement na, and that would affect your patong-patong buildings. No? So and also even not patong-patong, even one-story houses can be damaged. One-story house that's not properly constructed can be damaged. Yung insufficient reinforcement, substandard.
And that happens often with school buildings. Yun nga yung tinitira ko sa column ko today, that before COVID, when earthquakes and typhoons hit Mindanao, the Visayas, there were so many schools that were damaged because there were not enough structural reinforcements and poor foundation. Bumibigay yung mga pader, tapos hindi naka-link yung bubong, so nagko-collapse lahat.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Rani, thank you very much for your time. I'm sure we will be calling you back to the program again. Maybe next time we can talk naman about our national roads na bakit walang bakal ang mga highway ngayon at pag nagka-earthquake, ayan, repaving na naman ang buong Pilipinas. Anyway, thank you very much for your time, Rani, and we hope,
Yeah.
okay, we hope that you will join us again, and God bless you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, that's Rani Ison, Ronaldo Rani Ison of the Association of Structural Engineers of the Philippines. And I do hope that for those of you who are planning to build a house, a small building, etc., please save money, get professional advice, professional technical experts. Huwag kayong magtitipid and always get good quality materials because in the past there have been issues about fake cements, about poor quality steel bars, etc., etc. Tapos ang sisisihin nyo, arkitekto, builder, kayo yung bumili ng materials. So that's just my tip because I have been in construction before I got into media. We'll go for a quick break. When we return, let's talk about vaccines, COVID, because unfortunately it seems to be on the rise again and in a serious way. We'll be right back here on Agenda. Welcome back to the program agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and let's now introduce our next guest to discuss health issues in the Republic.
Dr. Beverly Ho currently serves as the Undersecretary in charge for the Public Health Services team and also as the DOH Deputy Spokesperson. Prior to this, Ho was the Research Division Chief of the agency's Policy Development and Planning Bureau. Ho also worked with various international development agencies, providing technical assistance on health financing, maternal and child health, and the health impact assessment to the Philippines.
Okay, welcome to the program, Dr. Beverly. Nice to see you once again.
Hi, good morning, Sir Cito. Nice to see you also.
Okay, Doc, I just picked up a piece of information here that the Department of Health said the entire NCR has now escalated to a moderate COVID-19 risk classification. Exactly what does this mean? Is this cause for concern? Should people refrain from going out, etc., etc.?
Well, definitely, based on our metrics, the number of cases has increased. But the reason why we really don't do any of our restrictions like we have done so in the past is because we don't see it translating to increased hospitalization, right? Mm-hmm. Which is basically the next most important thing now that we are moving into the stage of living with the virus. So definitely because we had really, really low cases back in the earlier parts like April, May, definitely, even if you say like double yung case, even if it's not as high as it was before, you will see the percentages really go up. So yes, we're in moderate risk. It just means that we will encourage everyone to keep doing the minimum public health standards. Hindi pa po nawala yung virus. At the same time, really encourage everyone to get their vaccines already.
Okay, so the chances of people getting COVID, vaccinated or otherwise, would you say has doubled?
Maybe it's scientifically not correct to say it. It has increased just because of your exposure, right? All of us are going out. And not in the same way as the past 2 years. And even the people we're interacting with are all exposed to people they're not too familiar with or not in their circles. So just the increased amount of risk, but I cannot really say it's doubled.
Okay, I'm happy that you said that, Doc Beverly, because I'm about to step out and I was having second thoughts. Sabi ko, teka, kung moderate na tayo, baka better stay home na lang ako. But in any case, so we encourage everyone to get the second booster shot. I'll be getting my second booster shot after 2 weeks. Babakasyon muna ako. Don't want it to be spoiled. But anyway, Doc Beverly, I know you're pressed for time. So you have an important meeting lineup, and we thank you for joining us. But just so you can have a chance to explain, there has been some kind of, sour feelings regarding 5.1 billion pesos worth of vaccines that supposedly were wasted because of the Health Technical Assessment Committee or something. What's your statement on this?
I think what is clear from our side is that this is still a vaccination program and safety will still be the primary reason for us to expand indication, right? We assure the general public that is the primary reason for us to expand the program. Hence, we will understand that we will have some resources, stocks that might not be used, but we will never just use that as the sole reason to say, now you can get certain types of vaccines. So this is still a health program. And then most importantly, we got to where we are because there were checks and balances amongst the different expert bodies. Diba? These are things that we learned from painfully from past vaccination programs that we're putting in place. So I think what is just, I think what we want the public to understand is safety over haste.
Okay, well, that's a good way of putting it. We all want to be vaccinated. We want to get it over and done with, but at the same time, we cannot take risk. And because I know that on a personal basis, because I have seen the ill effect of certain things on patients, particularly one of my nieces who was almost paralyzed because of an adverse reaction. So I respect that. In any case, Doc Beverly, any other special announcement before we go?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. We'd just like to remind everyone to please get your primary series, especially for the older adults, senior citizens. First booster dose is available for everyone. Second booster dose is available for anyone 50 and above, and for 18 to 49 if you have comorbidities. No? But we made it easier also such that you just need to go to the vaccination center if you're 18 to 49, and the medical screener can easily help you out. In terms of classifying you as A3 or with comorbidities. You don't need a separate medical certificate as it was required before.
Does asthma, quick question, does asthma
Yes.
qualify as comorbidity?
Yes.
Okay, well, at least I know someone who's going to ask me that question. Inunahan ko na. Okay,
Yes.
Dr. Beverly, thank you very much for joining
Thank
us.
you.
We know you're in a rush. Have a good day. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, that's Dr. Beverly Ho, the officer in charge, spokesperson of the Department of Health. Now, baka magtaka po kayo what is going on. Medyo nagkakatampuhan, nagkakasisihan regarding the fact that the private sector bought so much vaccines, anticipating a rollout for everyone. Unfortunately, the committee in charge designated to assess who and when these vaccines or the boosters can be rolled out took a prudent stand on the matter, because they're also dictated upon by science, by policy, by international guidelines. So, and being government for that especially, they have to be prudent and be careful about rolling things out, especially they need something to back their decision. Unfortunately, because of that, how do you call it, miscoordination or anyway, miscoordination na lang, a 5.1 billion pesos worth of vaccines essentially can no longer be used or will be expired by the end of the month until next month. So medyo nagkaka-bad tripan. But that is life. I'm sure many of you have also lost money, wasted money, bought things in anticipation, expecting good results, wanting. Alam nyo po, all of us, if we totaled all of the money that we spent unwisely, rashly, or because we thought it was the right thing to do and it turned out differently, well, we now know better. So let's not get into that anymore. Let it pass and move forward. Okay, it's time for our blessing. It's Friday, so I'm going to give you the final blessing. Alam niyo, Bishop, no? From Ezekiel chapter 11, verses 19 to 20. And I will give them one heart, and the new spirit I will put within them. Thank you, Lord. I will remove the heart of stone from their flesh and give them a heart of flesh, that they may walk in my statutes and keep my rules and obey them, and they shall be my people, and I will be their God. And there you go. That is our blessing for the week. We do hope that somehow you will take time to rest this weekend, I will certainly be doing that, and I look forward to joining you in the coming weeks. And heads up, kung sakasakaling magbakasyon po ako, pagbigyan nyo na ako. Okay? We'll be looking forward to more programs. Please keep it here on One News PH.